Gear Spaceship Music Collective. This is Six Set Bro, a misguided adventure through the social fringe of the music industry. I'm your host, Dom Maple. Welcome, everybody, to Six Set Bro Music and Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Maple, and he's back. He's back this week. It is Andrew Fernandez.
Hi!
Heyo. Nah, I mean, you don't get that joke if you didn't listen to last week's episode. You need to stay with us, or you don't get the jokes. They're all in jokes at this point. I'm joined by Andrew Fernandez. That's weird to call you that. Andrew, just call him Andy.
Call me by my Twitch name. Follow me.
Okay. Joined by Nandez of Nandez and the Maple Leaf, and we are also joined by my brother Money Mike, who is back with us this week after some technical difficulties last week with his internet. So welcome back, bye.
Good to be back. I was so annoyed. It was like literally I think it was about an hour before we were meant to go on last week. Power cut, and then whenever it came back up, like none of my internet was working. It took me forever to get it sorted.
Well, you know what? I fucking hate technology because everything we're about to talk about for the next 10 minutes is take number 3. Just calling it out. But let's hit it with the enthusiasm.
Let's pretend we haven't said any of this before.
Right. Okay. My computer has crashed 2 times already for you listeners. Okay. And you just need to know that we're going to try and hit this with the enthusiasm and whimsy that we did the first time. So let's do it all again.
I was impressed with us the first time.
It
was
good.
There was a
lot
lot of energy going on.
It was good shit, and it's gone forever.
This time.
Right. Okay. Well, it's inauguration day, everyone.
Really?
Somebody wore the old ones down the stairs. Let's go.
Get out of here. I got a new clip everyone laughed at.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
Yeah, I'm going to be using that all the time, okay? But it was funny the first time, and it's not fucking funny anymore.
It's time.
I freaking hate technology. It's the worst. Trump's out. Reptilian master of the underworld is gone. For now. Anyway, he will rise again. And the old dude's in. So, kind of better. Kind of better for a while anyway. We'll see. I don't know. It's just whenever you see like clips of Joe Biden running, I'm always like, oh my up. Like, he does like
how long has that guy got left? Yeah.
He does like a little jog to places.
He's probably got a Peloton tucked away in the office. Just, him and Kamala Harris just next to each other trying to...
Dude played with his dogs and like broke his ankle. That's old.
That will happen.
He's old. How old is he? He's so old that he played with his dog and his ankle snapped off. That's how old he is. Jesus Christ.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
So, yeah, Trump's gone. Thank goodness. That is good news for everyone. But yeah, we got a good show lined up. Gonna have to talk you through all this shit again. Ugh, nobody knows.
He's more annoyed he's more annoyed. Energy.
And I swear to God, if this crashes again, we're done. We're uploading 5 minutes. That's it.
Aww.
That's all they're gonna get. We got a jam-packed show, and then it cuts off, and that's all you get.
Just go down the bullet points.
Yeah,
and that was the show.
And that was the show. No, we got some cool new stuff. There's a lot of new music making its way out at the minute, so that's gonna be exciting to talk about. We got the big question as usual. New Pagans got signed to Big Scary Monster record label. We talk a little bit about Sunflower Fest and Independent Venue Week. Yep, got so much there, so much to talk about. Hopefully the show doesn't crash again, or we don't have any issues.
I suppose look on the bright side. At least we weren't like 5 minutes from the end.
Yeah, that would be way worse, and that has happened before.
That's happened.
Yeah.
That has happened before, but these are the risks we take as podcasters. It's a risky job. Really,
We're
just
very brave souls.
taking our time in our hands here. It's like it could all be lost. Could spend several hours podcasting, and it could all be for nothing. But yeah, I think to start off the show, I just want to give a little mention to the playlist that we put together. We try and do it monthly. It's called Distant Sound Waves. You can find the link usually on our Facebook page or Instagram. We post about it sometimes. Essentially, what Distant Sound Waves is a collection of all the music we've been talking about on the show for the last month. We found it was a good way to put things together because, there's a lot of playlists out there from, music establishments or magazines that are sort of like, here's all the new music for this month. And while that's really good and everybody wants to hear new music, I find it was quite good that, we don't always talk about everything that's brand new. We discover things at different times. There's some people we just find out about. Some people that we're having on the show who haven't released in a while. And we put that all on there because if we mention their name, then it's like, we want you to hear who this person is because obviously we can't really play clips on the show very much. So this month we've got quite a lot of cool acts on there. Top of the list is Little Geronimo, a new band that I've just discovered recently. They're from Florida. And they have this sort of like pop punk math rock thing going on. And hopefully that's a good way to describe them. Hopefully they're happy with that. I'm very into what they're doing though. I have a lot of nostalgia from like the kind of music that's coming out, but it's got that modern math rock vibe to it. And it's just very like upbeat and catchy, man. Their new single is called Glow, and that's what we've put on the playlist there. So definitely check those guys out. Get in on the ground level. It seems like they're just really taking off here. I think they released like an EP or something in 2017, but only now we're sort of seeing the numbers go up here on the follows and the YouTube views. So this is ground level stuff, everyone. Ground level, get in there.
Yeah, you were sort of saying like you were listening one day and then you came back the next day and like the followers had like shot up something crazy. So like something seems to be happening there.
Yeah, I mean they're obviously promoing it afar, because if they're based in Florida and I've seen it.
It's dropped into your
I've just stumbled across it, and then once I clicked in and gave it the time, I was just like, this is actually really dang good. So they're at the top of the list. A couple others just to give a little shout out to Sacha, good friend of mine, Adam Weston, who makes music under the moniker Sacha. He's released his brand new single, Nobody Wants Dead Love. We kind of mentioned it a little bit on the last show. We didn't really talk about it in depth. It's a great song. I mean, Adam's a very close friend of mine, but I need to promote him the exact same way I would anybody on the show. And if I heard this from anyone, it's just, it's an unbelievable track. It's the time and effort and meticulous nature that Sacha has on like puts into his music.
Yeah,
is just unfathomable. Like
we were saying before it crashed last time, it's like that boy takes his time, like, but it's always worth it because like anything that he puts out is just like immaculately produced. It's insane.
Yeah, it is always worth it. And this is a very somber song, very reflective song. I think the lyrics will speak for itself. You should definitely listen to them. Actually co-produced by Simon Hart of Romeo Indigo Romeo as well, which is a fun little fact for everybody. Which is good because I didn't mention that the last time before the show crashed. So shout out to Simon.
It's even better. The show is improved.
You know what? You guys are getting the best take so far. There is a possibility that there might be a fourth take, but we'll find out. We'll find out along the way together. So yeah, we got Sacha on there. Who else did we put on, Mike? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head here.
I think we have CMAT on, don't we?
We have CMAT on. Actually seen a review of CMAT in NME recently, and I was just like, oh, we were talking about her before I seen her on NME.
She is brilliant. I wish it wasn't just the playlist. I wish you could like force people to go and watch the video for that song.
Well, that's kind of like the next step of Distant Sound Waves is that we show up at your house and then we just like put headphones in your ears against your will.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is what we talked about on the show last week. And they're like, what show?
We need to discuss this after the podcast and work out how we can do this.
The way you said that, I didn't even think you were doing a bit there. I thought you were like, we need to discuss this.
Yeah, this is definitely a possibility.
You are on to something here, my friend. We break into people's houses, stick headphones in their ears, hold them down, Oh no, never mind. I think about. I went too far.
Getting dark.
It got really dark. Anyway, you know what? Go and check out the playlist. You know who's on there, and this is an example of things new and old. Here is we have a single from Ethan Hanna from a couple of years ago. We all of us on the show, big Ethan Hanna fans. We've talked about him numerous times. He's going to be on the show next week. Part of the reason we keep bringing him up. We're excited to talk to him about last year, see kind of what he went through during lockdown. And I say during lockdown, we're fucking in lockdown right now. We're all in lockdown. You know, 2020, what he went through during 2020 and how it's maybe inspired him going forward for new music and, you know, what he has ahead of him. So he's going to be joining us on the show next week. Very excited for that. So you can listen to Perfect by Ethan Hanna, which is an older song, but definitely check it out. It's on there. You might be discovering it for the first time, and that's the whole point. So get on over Distant Sound Waves, check it out. We update it about once a month. If you want on there or there's some track you want us to hear about, please just message us or tag it in the bottom of this and be like, check out my music. That's what we need. We can't listen to it if we don't know it exists, is all I'm gonna say. Right, I think it's about that time. I hyped this up so much on the last take that I'm gonna hype it up even more this time.
You're gonna need to get even more rage.
It's the nation's favorite segment. Y'all know what it is. Time to get real, man. Time to talk shit about the things we can't stand. Ain't nobody out there's getting a pass. Smart enough, dumbass. Right. I'm gonna go with the same thing I did last time. I could complain about other stuff, but this is Smart Enough Dumbass, I should say, if you're hearing this for the first time. This is Smart Enough Dumbass, the nation's favorite segment, where I, Don Maple, tell you about things that tick me off. And eventually, that might be the entire show. We don't really know. We're moving towards that.
The segment is getting longer and longer.
Eventually, the segment will become the show. And the show will just be called Smart Enough Dumbass, and it will just be me complaining, being a grumpy old guy. This week, what I wanna gripe about is, have you ever seen? And I already know the answer, guys, because we talked.
Surprised.
We freaking talked about this. Gosh darn it. But for any listeners out there, maybe you'll get this a bit more because these guys don't have a fuck clue what I'm talking about. Have you ever watched a YouTube video where like there's a person that works in a profession and he's reacting to that profession being portrayed on television or in a movie? No? Okay. That's it. No, these guys didn't know what I was talking about. There's a guy called The Legal Eagle on YouTube, and he's a lawyer, apparently, and it's like, real lawyer watches Better Call Saul. Real lawyer watches Law and Order SVU. And I'm like, yeah. I don't
realize this was a thing.
It's so man, you're gonna have to go and check it out now. But there's like real doctor watches Scrubs. It's like, I know Scrubs isn't real. Yeah. Like, I know that none of them are. It's
JD did not perform that procedure to the right medical specifications.
JD wouldn't be able to run around the hospital jumping on people's backs like he does. It's like, yeah, no duh.
I think the only thing I've seen in that is just like police watches, like military stuff, and you know.
Yeah, there's like soldier watches army movies.
Well, see,
or something.
That I understand because, like, obviously the holding of stuff or the tactic. But a lawyer or a doctor going, let's watch Scrubs. It's like, hey, do you know what this program is? It's like, why? This isn't real life.
I get it at all. I'm just like, who gives a fuck? It would be like a member of CIA watches James Bond. I was like, oh, the invisible car. I don't think that doesn't seem like a real thing, guys. We don't have that in the CIA, Wick.
This is the problem today. There's like way too many people that are just that guy, who are just kind of like, Actually, I think you'll find that no, that's not right.
There's always a guy called that says actually. One. It's usually me. It's usually me. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't want to say anything.
But I like to complain about it also. You don't see me making YouTube videos. You know what? If you're my
Maybe
friend,
you should do it.
it's something you got to put up with. But what
Maybe
would
you
I
should
put
do
up?
it.
Real retail worker watches man stack shelves.
Well,
No,
I was actually
wrong,
thinking.
wrong. Incorrect. That's not how you would do it. That's
I
not
was
how
actually thinking more from the musician angle, but actually that sounds better.
I don't know what I'm watching. I'd have to watch like CCTV footage of somebody stacking shelves. I don't think there's many TV shows or movies where that's happening. Like finding really small clips in movies where people are working in shops. And it's like, you see right there the way he puts that out? No, it would never work. It's the way he cuts the plastic off. The cardboard wouldn't hold. Wouldn't hold on the bottom. You got to keep a little bit of the plastic on and the cardboard in the tray. And then you put it on the shelf and then you kind of slip it out like a magician. And that's how you put Schler on a shelf.
There's already a true representation of retail called Trolleyed. So
yeah, Trolleyed was
that. That's what you get.
Pretty good. There's that new one that went on Netflix, but I haven't watched it yet. What is it, like supermarket or something? I don't know. Superstore?
Something super, yeah.
I think
it's actually basically the American version of Trolleyed, but I caught a couple of episodes. Like
it's got the girl from really Betty in it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
right. Actually not bad.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but like it's not great either, if you know what I mean. It's okay to me it was arguably better than the Trolleyed version because I used to work in retail as well, and I've always said like it's ripe for a comedy show, but I just don't feel anybody's ever done it right.
Although it's quite hard because everybody thinks their job is ripe for a comedy show. Oh, if they made a sitcom about this, oh my goodness, the characters we have in here. Everyone's such a character. It's like, yeah, okay. Man, didn't even get to fit in my hatred of Sandra Bullock in this. Take.
Yeah.
I also hate Sandra Bullock.
Time to get real, man.
Should probably explain. So Andy said one of the things he's seen before was Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about gravity. Didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't that happen?
How do we such tangents? I even forgot that's how we got on to Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I think Stu's just trying to speed through everything that he got up to before the technical difficulty happened, and then so I'll let him roll.
It was because I was saying about like lawyer watches Better Call Saul or lawyer shows, cop watches police shows, and he was like, I've seen Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about Gravity with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, and I was like, yeah, I've never watched Gravity because I hate Sandra Bullock. And that's
and I said I watched the Troy Baker podcast, and he said Gravity was to do with like her being in a dream, coming out of a dream. And Neil deGrasse Tyson went all about the science on it. I was like, hey, dude, it's a fucking movie. Yeah. You need to relax.
but anyway, hate Sandra Bullock. Get a new career.
Time to get real, man. Time to talk shit about the things we can't stand. Ain't nobody out there's getting a pass. Smart enough, dumbass.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
That was a Sandra Bullock. Okay, so let's jump into the music for this music and entertainment podcast. All right, we're back where the show cut off. We made it back, everyone, and we're okay.
It's all new from here on out.
It's all new. It's all fresh material from here. We don't have to redo any jokes again. Great. Yeah, bunch of new music coming out. That's you can't tell. It's like, January. You get towards the end of January. This happens most years, where people start releasing their new music, sort of like setting course for the new year. Oh God, sorry. Oh, it's burning. The whiskey went down the wrong pipes, folks. Well, I should mention that for audio listeners. I am drinking whiskey right now. It's called Auchentoshan. And I say it like it's from a different language. I assume it's Scottish. I don't know why I'm saying Auchentoshan. It's probably just like Try and say it Scottish. Auchentoshan. I don't know. That wasn't very Scottish, was it? Can anybody do Scottish?
Nah.
Or contortion.
Oh, that sounded like it was just from here. Auchentoshan.
Maybe that's what I think Scottish people sound like as well. I don't know.
Auchentoshan. That wasn't bad. Auchentoshan. I don't know. This could be the rest of the show.
Would there not be like a wee tongue roll in there somewhere for Scottish people?
Like a what?
A wee tongue roll?
Some
There's no R's. There's no R's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I do Scottish, I always go down low like this, and I always say canny, because you can't do it. And I lost it already.
What I'm saying? You can what I'm saying? No.
Yeah.
All right.
You can't do a Scottish accent without saying canny, you know. That's my best Scottish. I don't know. It's not very good. Sorry, everyone. Anyways, yep. Sorry, I just got heartburn on the side. We got new music coming from a bunch of new bands that look like they're sparking up for their, you know, what is going to come from them in 2021. So Reasy Ajarro, who is a band that, I don't know, maybe you haven't heard of them, but they have been on this show a long time ago under a different name. They used to be called Surf Green. And we were always big fans of Surf Green. We had them on a video episode. We had them in and we spoke to them. It's actually, if you're longtime viewers of this show, you will know our aliens that we had, that were always on the show. We had Springsteen the Alien that we had all the bands come in and sign every time they were on the video podcast. We would get them to sign it afterwards. Do you still have him, Mike? Yeah, Springsteen?
Yeah, I have both of them. One of them made an appearance on last week's clip.
Yeah,
He did actually. Yeah. If you haven't seen our clip on the Facebook page, whenever Mike edited himself into the episode that he was taken out of, definitely go and watch that. That's a riot. That was a lot of goofs and gaffs in that.
That took way too long.
I felt like it probably did, but it was totally worth it.
I wish I had the time to do it all the time. It was fun, but yeah.
That was good. Yeah, so those guys used to throw out aliens at their live shows, like little blow up alien dolls. And we kept a couple, and we used to get people to sign up. So that was like our mascot for the show. But ever since the pandemic hit, we haven't been able to have people around to actually sign the alien ever since. So yeah, it only has a few signatures on it, I believe, but it was getting there. It was cool. Yeah. It was kind of like the Gonzo couch for us. Yeah. If everyone remembers Gonzo on MTV2. Was it MTV2? Is that right? MTV2. Zane Lowe would get people to sign the couch afterwards. So that was kind of our thing. But anyways, the Reasy Ajarro now, which used to be, that was the name of one of their songs off their last EP they did. So they've changed the band name to what their song name was. And it's weird. It's not the first time this has happened to us on the show. We've had several bands over the years where we are talking about them under one name and they've decided to go a different name for whatever reason. We had I think on one of our first Except Bro episode, I'm pretty sure the first one, Ugandan Jurassic Park, was we were talking about R51, who became Winona Bleach. Such a long time ago. And then we had
Hot
Cops turned
careerist now.
Turned careerist.
There's bound to have been others, but yeah, there's been quite a few in the time that we've done the podcast.
Yeah, crazy. So ever since Surf Green decided to cease all happenings under that name, they have sort of been just like teasing a little bit here and there. I think more than anything, they've just been trolling people, in my opinion. Like they were posting up that they're not going to make music together again and stuff like this, and Surf Green is dead and all this sort of stuff. So it seems like they're reviving under this name, Reasy Ajarro, and their single is coming out on the 29th of January, which is also the same date as this kind of surprise Weezer album that's coming out called OK Human. I don't really know if people even care about Weezer albums coming out anymore because it feels like they come out every 5 minutes. So is there not an album called Van Weezer that's still meant to be coming out? And for some reason it's like, since they said Van Weezer was coming out, they've released like 2 other albums. I'm very confused about the release rollout for these things. I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm not
Like,
paying enough attention. I do remember seeing something about that. I just assumed it was already out.
I don't think it is. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think we're still waiting on Van Weezer. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments and be like, you fucking you don't even know about Weezer albums."
Well,
Um,
I do know which album I'll be listening to on the day if they both come out on the same day,
yeah,
and it's not the Weezer album. Let me
yeah.
tell you.
We'll be listening to. We won't be listening to Weezer. We'll be listening to Reasy Ajarro on the day.
That's you're saying like about the guys trolling and everything. I think that's what people do. Like people that know them from the Surf Green days. That's what people love about them so much. Is like they do just kind of like have fun with it, and they don't take themselves too seriously, and they're super sweet guys and really really funny, and the humor and the energy like comes off in the live shows if anybody's ever seen them live as well. And I just like that that's what they're all about, and I'm excited to hear new stuff from them because it has been a while since they've put anything out.
Very true, and I am interested to see because I never know how I feel like what they're doing is almost the opposite of what I've talked about on the show previously, like especially the episode that we had with Sarah McCready, where I was kind of like, it's my philosophy to just like let's just get stuff out there, and I'm not saying release any old garbage, but there's people that hang on to stuff way
You can
too
hold
long.
it for too long. Yeah, we did talk about this.
I do believe that. Not say like I don't think and sorry, I'm referring to them as Surf Green because it would have been at the time. I'm not saying that they did that because they released a lot of stuff along the way, but I know in particular there was a song towards the end of their sort of life as that band name that I thought this is something like this is a song that I think could do really well. And I told them that, and I'm sure a lot of people told them that. So I'm kind of curious to see whether they've taken that ideology of like, let's not screw that one up. And I'm excited to hear it whenever it's finally done. But I don't know if that's the single that's coming on 29th of Jan. I don't really know if it is. I don't know if they've said the title of that song. But it feels like they've been working in the background, like trying to put some really good stuff together, some really professional stuff, and like now we're gonna see it. Like, is this the new age of Reasy Ajarro taking over the place in 2021? Very excited to see what's coming. Like, hype train, hype.
Hopefully we can get a gig from them this year. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
Well, yeah.
Who
I mean,
knows?
it's even better whenever you get to see a gig with those dudes because they jump all over the place. It's great. So yeah, Reasy Ajarro and Weezer, 29th of January. So another band that reached out, again, touched on this very briefly last episode, but it was I definitely thought this was really exciting news. The lead singer of a band called Ember Trails, which hopefully you've heard of before. If you haven't, go and check them out. They did perform quite a few shows around the area. They actually played a huge show, didn't they? That time, were they supporting like Ollie Murs or something?
Yeah,
random?
it was kind of a weird
fucking-
fit, but it was
yeah, it
so
was very
cool. They played
strange.
to a big crowd,
It
and
was a huge crowd, yeah.
really cool.
They're a really great band, and I think if memory serves as well, their album, or at least a couple of singles, if I'm incorrect here, sorry, was mixed and produced by Johnny Woods from Winona Bleach, who we just talked about earlier.
Yeah.
He mixed and recorded them. I don't really know if that's still what's happening now. I haven't heard anything. I don't think he's who has done the most recent song. Apologies. I think they actually did tell me. I'm gonna have to look it up here. But we do have an exclusive little clip of that song, which I'm very happy that we get to play this for you guys because as far as I'm aware, nobody else has heard this yet. I promise that we'll only play a small snippet, so I don't want to overdo it here because I know that the quality as well, because we're running through Skype and everything, it's not going to be the best. So I don't want you to hear the song this way. It's not out yet. As of yet, don't see a release date anywhere. But this is the new little snippet that I do have that I can share with you. So this is called Neon Jungle by Ember Trails, and it's going to be coming out this year at some point, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. not give too much away here, so I'll turn that down a little bit so I can talk over it. Very exciting. They're back. They still got their big old ambient guitars. I was actually talking to Simon from Ember Trails, and he says, I guess lockdown was maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise for those guys because they decided to get back at it again. I think they were on a bit of an indefinite hiatus, should you say? Should I say? Whatever that phrase is.
I don't know. Should you say?
Should I say? So they were on a bit of a hiatus, and then I guess during lockdown they decided to get back at it again, and they've been working on new music. And they said they were actually really inspired by, funnily enough, because Andy was just talking about it last episode, The Weeknd. They were very inspired by his sort of new wave-esque sort of vibe.
Not to veer you off, one answer. Did you manage to check any of that?
I'll be honest,
okay.
I still haven't heard it yet.
We'll move on.
It's been a busy week for me. It has been a busy week. But I will listen because, like what you said, you know what? Maybe I need to give it more of a chance. Like, I think, but, it's obviously something there because these guys are saying, like, After Hours in particular is one of the things that's had a big influence on what they're doing now. So, like, it's super, super exciting. They said it's kind of like a new direction for the band. I'm trying to find here just who produced it, because I wanna give that guy a shout out, but I bet I've lost it. Oh no, so it's produced by Carl Small, who I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of yet. I don't know. Have you guys heard of Carl Small? No.
The name rings a bell. I'm struggling to remember where he's from.
Just in case, I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I knew that he had told me, and I knew it wasn't Johnny Woods this time around, but he had done the first record for them, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, so that was kind of your exclusive little listen to Ember Trails. It's very cool that they let us do that. Thank you guys so much for letting us play you on the show. Everyone follow their pages, I would say, so that you can keep your eyes peeled for that single because it's gonna be coming soon. Oh God, my heartburn.
You need to drink some here. Can I pass this through the camera?
Does anybody have Gaviscon? Does anybody have some Gaviscon? Oh, yeah, and then so even crazier news. Things just keep getting crazier on this list of new music news. New Pagans. Not only have they just released a new single today, literally, called Christian Boys. They have just been signed to Big Scary Monsters record label, and they're going to release their debut LP through that on the 19th of March, called The Seed, The Vessel, The Roots, and All. Very exciting. Big fan of New Pagans. We've spoken about them on the show numerous times over. Awesome that they get signed to these guys. Mike, I know you like Big Scary Monster.
I love Big Scary Monsters. They have a pretty incredible roster of artists. In particular, I think I've made it pretty clear on this show before, I'm a big fan of Delta Sleep and stuff like. So I'm so happy for those guys getting signed there.
Yeah, it's an amazing fit, and to me that sort of just like seems right. Like if you listen to like Delta Sleep and you listen to New Pagans, it's like it makes sense. Like the sort of vibes that are on there. Not that like they don't sound the same at all, but I'm just saying it makes sense on the record label fit. But that's awesome that they have this LP on the way now, like a full length album. But yeah, you can pre-order it and everything. Like if you jump on there, you can do pre-orders now.
Yeah, it's on the Big Scary Monsters website, I think, if you want to pre-order. Yeah.
So amazing news. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, just Google it. It's very easy to find. Big Scary Monsters, and I think as soon as you go onto the homepage, New Pagans, because like they've literally just been signed, or well, announced being signed today. So it's literally on the front page.
This is hot news, fresh news, freshly baked, fresh out of the oven. My fingertips are burning because I'm holding this news.
I knew there was somebody else. Tiny Moving Parts are on Big Scary Monsters, or UK representation as well.
It's all full circle here. Tiny Moving Parts is probably the band that I would try and describe closest to Little Geronimo.
Oh yeah. They're on the playlist. Yeah.
Yes, that are at the top of the Distance Sound Wave playlist.
Size, there's like size things. Little Geronimo, giant scary monsters. What's the other one? Little. It's like everyone's a size.
You have to measure everything nowadays, Andy.
like,
you have to measure.
And you should know, Andy, that they're not giant scary monsters. They are big scary monsters.
Big scary monsters. Sorry.
Giant scary monsters could be my record label one day. And it'd be like, we are bigger and we are better than you. That would be our tagline.
Like going forward, signing with a label now because of gigs and stuff. Like, I wonder that could be a big question for later on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's the same fear that we would have anyways. I mean, it's amazing that they are signing people at this time. Like, I would say, I guess they're just wanting to hit the ground running whenever things get up, and back to normal again.
Here,
if there ever can be normal.
More important question: should we change our name to Big Spaceship?
Giant Spaceship.
Giants.
Because giant is bigger than big.
6 Set Bro.
Giant.
Enormous spaceship.
Yeah, produced by Enormous Spaceship. Yeah.
Look at my enormous spaceship, everyone. That was weird. Sorry. Like, congratulations, Reasy Ajarro, new single coming, Weezer new album coming. Although congratulations to them, I guess. Whatever. Hopefully it's not shit. Ember Trails for returning, and new Pagans on their label. Sign into a label. That's incredible. New single out and LP on the way. Congratulations, guys. We love you. Good job. That was so patronizing. Sorry. Good job, everyone. Well done. Well done on that. No,
back
seriously.
pats all around.
Well done. What?
You know what? Pat yourselves on the back. Good job. Good job, everyone working together. No, honestly, I'm very excited for all that. I'm not just saying that. It's super exciting. So another thing that we were like, we were like looking through topics for this episode, and something that sort of came up is like, let's talk about that. We have a lot of confusion around, to be honest, and it's Sunflower Fest. So I mean, if anybody knows a little bit more, they can tell us in the comments. Like, by all means. I try to look into it a little bit. Maybe I just didn't find anything at the time, but as far as I can see, Sunflower Fest is still going ahead this year. Obviously, it couldn't last year because of the pandemic, and it's in July. I think, what is it, like 25th of July or something? 23rd?
Is it 20?
It's
23rd, 24th.
Something like that. But it was interesting because Andy was like, oh, I guess like still going ahead because he's seen a poster for it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it is, but at the same time, it's like, are they just taking a gamble on it? Because it's all well and good to say it's still going ahead, but I mean, we don't know. I mean, there's definitely things that were cancelled next year. I mean, as far as I know, wasn't Glastonbury, didn't they just say it's a no-go? They're not going to do it this year just because they don't think it's feasible. Now, Sunflower is obviously a lot smaller than Glastonbury, but it's still a festival that
still a pretty big operation to try and put on.
There's a lot of moving parts, and as far as everyone's aware, they're still just going ahead and preparing it, which to me is a huge gamble because I don't know where we're going to be.
And I seen like a thing. Remember, Snoop Dogg was supposed to come over last April. Mm-hmm. That's also been rescheduled for the April Common as well.
2022 instead.
No, 21.
21
like this year.
Yeah, I know, but if it happens, I think that'll be rescheduled again, dude.
And they just like throwing stuff out and just waiting to see what the situation is in April, I guess.
I know a lot of people rescheduled last year for 21. And they just like same date 2021, but I mean, there's obviously things that we were meant to go to. We were gonna go see Brendan Schaub do his live show, and me and Mike were gonna go see the Sopranos podcast live. And as far as I'm aware, they just got like flicked to the next year.
Yeah.
But we don't know if they're happening. Like, I mean, it's very much up in the air. Yeah. They're saying like that's potentially the new date, but as we talked about kind of like not that many episodes ago, are live shows going to happen this year? Like, I mean, is that, I don't know. Like, I don't really know if that's like a bit premature to be saying that's definitely going to happen, but I don't know. If somebody knows a bit more about that, I'd love to know about it personally, because it sounds like it'd be really good. A lot of really cool bands playing. A lot of cool acts gonna be at it. All those working parts, like they're all in action at the moment, with a lot of people being involved. And I'm kind of like, I hope it happens for the sake of everyone involved, because it would be horrible if it falls apart at the last minute.
Yeah.
I really hate that. And maybe they do it virtually again, but it's just not the same thing, especially with all the people I'm sure they've planned to come in and help out at it. But I don't know. I suppose time will tell on that. But if you have any insider info, please hit us up and let us know. Which then brings us around to the big question this week. I don't have I'm gonna have to make like a sound for the big question.
Yeah,
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
I don't have a lot of reasons to use that, but it's funnier. It's fucking hilarious to me. We love you. You're very special. Yeah, we got the big question this week. I know it's quite a broad one. Broad strokes for different folks. That's not the saying. What we're going with this week is, are reviews important? Reviews as in reviews of your music that you put out. A lot of people send them off to places like magazines, or people send them to us and they ask like, will you review our new music? Can you review this for me? It seems like there's a desperate need for people to be reviewed at all times. The question is it important? How important
are they useful?
Are they useful, and are people using them correctly? Or not correctly, in the best way, I guess. And I know, Mike, you had a little bit to say on this, so
the example.
I'll let Mike take it away here, but that's kind of the broad question. We'll hit on a couple of different things, but I know Mike's got a little bit to say about this, so I'll let him take over. Mike, money, Mike.
Yeah, so
I was about to play cash register, and then I cut it off.
The example that I was talking about pre-show with these guys that kind of got me onto the topic in the first place, somewhat similar to the hairdresser story from a couple of weeks ago. If you didn't catch that one, go back to the earlier episode.
Like the story corner.
Yeah, I know.
I was at the hairdressers again, and you'll never guess what happened.
But basically, we put up the Distant Sound Waves playlist there. I think it was last week, and basically, it was great to see a lot of people using it to their advantage, going, like, obviously there's other playlists, there's other places for where to share your music and everything. It's not that we're an important place that, oh, your music is getting played on our playlist, but bands and artists that were on the playlist were sharing it onto their stories, onto Facebook, whatever. It's like, I'm appearing on this playlist, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. People are using it to help them promote their music, and this is the thing that you need to do, is like, you need to get onto playlists. Maybe this is what we're going to come to. You need to get reviews or whatever, because you're trying to legitimize your music with like other people that haven't gotten on board yet. But I seen everybody using this in the right way last week, and it reminded me of a good long time ago, your Spaceship early days, and we had a website that we were paying hosting for and everything. We've long since gotten rid of that, and we've swapped. So this review doesn't exist anywhere anymore, but there was an act that came to us and said, would you review this new album that we're putting out or whatever? And I'm going to admit, like, writing isn't like our forte. I mean, we try and do a lot of stuff here, a lot of different stuff with the podcast, and we do our own music, and we video like music videos, and you've done like album breakdowns on the YouTube page and everything. So we do kind of stretch ourselves a little bit thin, but it's like, if somebody asks, we're going to try our best to help them or whatever. So like, I spent an awful long time on it. Like, because I'm not a natural writer who can probably hammer something out in a night. There's people like that work for Chord Blossom, Thin Air, whatever, that are doing this stuff day in, day out, and they can probably write reviews very, very quickly and not fall into the same sort of traps that anybody else would, using the same descriptive words to describe, albums, like, I don't know, like saying fuzzy, or it fits into like this genre or whatever. You want to try and avoid those tropes, because you're trying to get people interested in the music. So listen to the album, took a really long time to think out and write down my feelings on what the album was, what I thought people could enjoy about it, trying to really big it up for this person, thinking, right, this is what they're going to then use as, look, this music review site thought my album was really good. Maybe you'll think my album is really good too. It took me about a week on and off because we're like juggling full-time job, whatever. Posted up. They liked it.
Yeah.
Just hit like.
Yeah.
Like on Facebook, like on Instagram.
Yeah. The question is, what did that do for anybody involved?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, like,
that's not a, like, can I just, like, I'm sorry for interjecting, but like, it's hard, like, even what you're saying there, don't want it to come across at all, like, as in a petty way, but the question is, like, how does this benefit them? Like, I mean, it's not like, oh, I spent a week on this, like, it was so hard for me. It's more like, right, we're trying to do this because, like, your spaceship as a whole, you know, as professional as we will always try to look, a lot of times we question what it is we do, which I think is hilarious, but it's because we know that we're, like, kind of a multimedia like thing, and what we want to do, what we care about most is music, more so than anything, and we find as many ways as possible to promote other artists that we think are great who maybe are slipping through the cracks. That's kind of, it's not just them, but we try and find these people, and like if anyone contacts us and is like, can you help us, it's like, yes. Like, that's my first reaction is, yes, we will help. But then it's hard whenever it's like you're trying to help and then you're looking at it and you're being like, I don't really, like, are they using this the best way? Like, you know, that's, I don't really see what that achieved for either us or them in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. Like, you wrote a review and then they liked the review. They didn't share it. They didn't, you know, post it around anywhere. They didn't put it on
to their advantage. Yeah.
I was just like, what did that really achieve?
And like, and this is the thing as well. Like, it was a glowing review as well. It wasn't like there wasn't, because I genuinely like the album.
Well, I mean, I think we've always had sort of this ideology of, and I know this isn't, it's why we're not a review site. I mean, we will give reviews happily, but it's like, it'll take us a while to write them. We're inclined to suggest we'll talk about it on the podcast because we're better podcasters than we maybe are writers, to be honest. But like, I mean, I have this ideology of, if I don't have anything good to say about it, I'm not going to write a shit review. Put it that way. I'm not going to, you know, why would I waste my time slamming your record? You know, if I don't like it, I don't like it. I just don't see what the point in that is.
We agreed when we started doing the whole Your Spaceship thing that was not going to be who we were, as you said.
It's not who we are as people. So, like, how would we be able to bring that over into this company? You know, it's not how it works.
Yeah, if you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. Basically, that is it. But
which is, I mean, no, we'll go back to that. You continue. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, basically, so like the point is then, you know, how, as you're saying, like, the big question really is how, especially at an independent and early level, how important is it for written reviews?
It's a good question, because I mean, what we just said there, the jumping off point of, like, I mean, that's how Mike and I were raised. I mean, I don't know about you, Andy, but it is that very much that sentiment, the cliche of, like, if you don't have anything good to say. Sorry, stumbling over myself. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. Then, like, at all. Like, that's what is difficult, because I do understand it more so. Not that they're any different. I mean, they're just human as well. But, like, on big time records, it's kind of hard, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you could say this album is better than that album. We didn't like this new record from this person because we expected so much more. Whenever you're talking about, like, I don't know, like SZA or Kid Cudi or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, look, maybe you can rate those a bit easier, but you see, whenever you're like an independent artist and you don't have anything, like, I mean, if somebody's gonna actually review you and start saying, like, bad things, do you know how hard it is to already get people to listen to your music in
Yeah.
the first place? It's just detrimental to the release, the promo. Is like if one person, even if the review is more or less good, if they said something that is it's a bit messy, people will be like, it's a bit messy. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
exactly.
like
They're out.
you're not.
They're out before they've even given it a chance because it's negative. And I feel like I've came across people, and there's a weird ego and arrogance about certain people who are like, oh, I'm helping to shape these people into better artists or better musicians by pointing out where it can be
Yeah.
improved and stuff. And like as you say, like at an independent level, like first starting out, I don't know how much that helps anybody.
I don't really know either. And you know what? I find it so hard because I don't want to sound hypocritical because I'm happy to come on this podcast and discuss the ins and outs of stuff and talk about how maybe I don't think like I don't know, say a record comes out from a band I really like and I'm like, whatever, and I wasn't too fussed on it. I feel on like a long form podcast format, we can discuss it and we might all have differing opinions. It's not like we're all just here to slam the thing, but you can't write a review with differing opinions, really. You know, it's one person's thoughts and music is subjective. And it's like, I find it hard because I know I'm talking about this and it's like, look, there's even people that listen to the show that I know review music. I'm not trying to talk about it. It's a personal thing to me where I'm like, it's not even music related. I personally, as a human, don't deal well with criticism. Doesn't have to be my music. Could be something I do in my job. Could be something I do in everyday life. Something that is criticism to me is really, it's something I have a trigger with, and it's hard for me to deal with the minute someone starts or something I perceive as criticism towards how I do a certain thing. I find it very difficult, and it's like it doesn't help me in the slightest, which is why I stopped sending stuff to people. I don't even send songs to people anymore. Um, which is hard because like maybe if they did do a really glowing review and sent it out to people or shared it on, then I could get a broader audience, which would be great. But now the risk is like I don't want them to say anything that's gonna completely knock my confidence. I know that sounds really sensitive, but that's just it's a personal thing within me. It's a problem I know I have with
Well,
criticism.
that's the thing. Like I would like to think like even like the harshest music critic gets into it for the love of music. And
No.
like would you ever like think that potentially very early on in the likes of say like somebody who could have became a Cuddy or Foo Fighters or whatever, you absolutely crushed somebody by picking apart like their earliest creations, and then they were
Yeah.
just like, I can't do this, I
Yeah.
can't take this. You know, that's why we're about building people up. And if we can't find enough good about something to build people up, then we just stay silent.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and
And
I think that does more good than it does
we're the
harm.
we're the parents with the participation award. You know, it's like you took part. Good job. Good job, Jimmy.
Well, no,
Look,
I
I
mean,
know you came 11th in the race, but here's a medal. That's us.
I hope that's
We're
the other thing, though, that like people trust us to only like share and talk about stuff that we actually genuinely believe in, which we think is good.
yeah.
So it's not like we're giving everybody friggin' participation medals and saying everything's friggin' amazing.
I wouldn't talk about anything unless I thought it was actually good and I had some faith in it or belief. Maybe sometimes it's not even 100%. You know, like I'm absolutely in love with this, but I wouldn't lie on this podcast. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't see the point in that. I talk about things I'm excited about. Um, you know, that's the only fear that I know all three of us have whenever we talk about the show is like you never want to be seen as talking about the same people.
Yeah.
But it is hard if there's people that you do listen to and you're like, you know, maybe I'm not so on that level at the minute. Maybe I don't think that there's something there right now. But I'm not gonna come on here and start saying like, oh, this band has a completely shit single out. You shouldn't listen to it. Like, how is that fair? Like,
Yeah.
I know that's a personal thing on my account. I kind of I don't know, man. I just really dislike critics, and it's not them as people, but it's the whole thought of starting to write negative things about people. And I know why it's there, and I'm sure we will get comments about why it's important after this. It's just me, and not to get too deep here. Don't want it to be a whole sob story thing, but I know it's something that is a real trigger with me. It's something I discovered kind of only in the last year through therapy, is that I have a real problem with perceived criticism. And I'm sure I'm not the only person, but it's not like, of course, constructive criticism is one thing. My problem is that I will read between the lines on almost everything that's said. So it's like whenever you write a review, it's like I will analyze every single word. And it's like the reviews that maybe came out of my debut record from a couple of places, nobody ever wrote a bad word about it. But in my mind, a lot of people talked about how it was maybe a bit messy or a bit all over the place. And I was like sitting at home losing my mind, being like, but that's the point. It's like literally the first album is like a personification of slipping into depression and your mind playing tricks on you. Is like there is a reason why that happens. I know that's an easy excuse to use, but it's like there's threads that run throughout the entire thing. And I was like, they've missed it, they've missed the point. And it's like it's clearly not good enough. And you know, I sit at home and kick myself over it. And that's what I worry about. Is like maybe it's just me as somebody that clearly struggles with that sort of issue, but I'm just worried that there's people that might go further and be like, well, I'm not making anything again. Like clearly I'm not good enough, and then they just give up. And it's like that scares me. Like that could be a possibility for some artists, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. As far as we're concerned, as you say, like I mean, there is definitely going to be arguments for it is needed, and it can, like, I don't know, it can make some people stronger and bounce back better and blah blah blah. And I can see that side of it too. I just know that for us personally, as an organization, we just want to try and be helpful, and we kind of like speak volumes more through silence. So like, I mean, that's as bad a review as you'll ever get from us.
If we don't talk about your stuff, it's either that we forgot or we didn't like it. Maybe that's more rude.
Also to point out though, like if there's people that are kind of out there releasing music and stuff, and we potentially are maybe not aware, to like get involved in our world, leave comments in posts and stuff, link to music, whatever. We're not those kinds of people where it's like, no, don't bombard us with stuff. Happily bombard us with stuff.
Might take us a while to get to it sometimes, like, but never think that's a problem. I mean, we've talked about it many times. We all work a day job, and this is something that we have a passion for, and we do it. Like, we don't make money off of this, so it's just, it's something we love to do. And if you really want to be involved, then just hit us up. It might be a couple of days before we get around to it, but we'll check out whatever you send us, 100%. Yeah, that's.
Do we have like a bottom line answer there?
We don't. Like... Andy, right? As the outsider perspective, always that's what Nandez is.
I'm only here so I don't get fined. Anybody get that reference?
No.
Okay. Somebody that watches the NFL will. That's okay. It's all right. Yes, go with your question.
Who was that? I watched.
That was Marshawn. That was Marshawn Lynch. He went to a press conference, and that's all he said. I'm only here so I don't get fined. Every question.
At least it was more than one word.
Correct.
That's NBA interviews at the minute are going one word answers. Just be like, are you feeling like you're you're feeling a little bit healthier and you're back on course and everything's feeling good? Tell us a little bit about this. Yes.
It turned into an E40 song.
Yeah. Yup.
Nope.
Nope. E40. Yeah, sorry, Andy, it's like as a listener of music, somebody that's not creating it, do you often or ever read a review from somewhere? Do you go on like a website like the Rolling Stone, NME, read a review and you see 5 stars, click into it, this guy's raving about this album, I gotta go and check it out? Do you ever do that?
I don't know. I don't go out of my way to go, this album's coming out, I'm going to go look at a review. I don't do it with anything.
Yeah,
The only time I would go and look at a review is if I've seen the thing, heard the thing, played the thing, have my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And go and see what somebody else
what
thinks.
the consensus is.
Yes,
and even again, this is probably a personal thing to me. And even in my mind, try and see where they're coming from. And if I still don't agree, I just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. That's it. And I know
reviews are something after my personal take.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way for me you as a person can truly judge something. Because if you're going to judge something before seeing it, reading it, playing it through words or a video, then you're already going in with the mindset of not liking it, overhyping it, or just liking it just because that person had said it.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
So,
and you know what? I think we're very lucky in our not even just this trio that's on the show, but our close friend circle, the other friends that we have that don't do the show with us. I'm pretty sure most of them, some of them are so far gone that they won't look at a review or a trailer before like a movie comes out. They don't look at anything like that, and because we all have a chat together, and it's just kind of like, even whenever reviews come out, most people are just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not listening to a review. Like, I'm gonna do it for myself, and I think everybody should take that attitude. I mean, it's actually crazy to me that people don't. I mean, I would say an example that's outside of music, something that I wholeheartedly disagree with. I don't even understand why people talk about it being polarizing. Is a game that was released last year, The Last of Us 2. Terrific game. One of the best storylines I've ever played through in a game. And whenever people talk to me about how it was awful, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And I get it's polarizing maybe on both sides, but I'm like, I just don't think that they got what the story was meant to be.
Yeah, I don't get the awful. I don't get like yeah.
Andy, Last of Us 2. You didn't like it.
Yeah, but like awful? Like
it's
awful
not
game.
The way they talk about it, they're like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
The only thing is the story was great. It's the structure, the placement of certain things that when I played through it, again, this is me doing my opinion before reading anything. When I played through it, it was just jumping all over the place. I'm like, just let me relate to something before moving on to here. Like, I get, and then when you take all the story is great. It's fine, emotional. You get angry sometimes, but that just segments of the thing was like, oh, why am I here? Okay, right, jump back here. Okay, right, I'm over here now, and it's like, just like consolidate everything. But yeah, I personally think it was like the best story of last year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought
I
still
like the game. I'm gonna play it again. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I even felt the placement. I don't really want to spoil it for anyone that doesn't watch it, so I really won't talk about the story. But like, I just thought that the way they made you play it, to me, that was part of it. And I know some people complained about that as well, playing as maybe a different character that they didn't want to play as. But I felt they made up their mind 2 seconds into that game that they were like, I'm not playing as anybody else. And it's like, that's crazy, dude. It's a fucking video game. So, whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. I won't spoil it because The Last of Us 2 is fucking great. Go play it. If you haven't, I'm not going to.
That'll be for another podcast. That's
a gaming podcast. Gaming podcast.
Yeah, when we get big enough to have multiple podcasts and can talk about different topics.
We have more time on our hands. We will do it.
Yeah, so like it sounds like then general consensus really is, written reviews maybe early on aren't as useful as.
I don't think so.
Put your energy into other, because like I remember like doing the band thing and like really really chasing reviews, and it's like could you have been using that time like more efficiently to do other things, to like push yourself in other ways. If you get one though, use it. Share it.
I know. At least share it around if you get one. Like that's the
say, look, this person liked my music. Maybe you'll like it too.
I know. Because like we don't really do them, but we will do them if you're
But
really begging for it.
I'm putting
We'll do one.
myself in the position of other writers who do this day in day out, and I'm sure it really peeves them off something crazy when it's like, I spent all night trying to like come up with some nice words that would get somebody like attracted to this new music, and then you put it out and it's like nothing.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's easy for me to say because we do a podcast, but really stuff like this is where I want to hear people talk about something, because one person writing words on a page doesn't ever mean much to me, because I was like, well, you're so much in your own head. You see, whenever it's like a group discussion in long form format, where you can sit and talk about a record or like even a song, and you can be like, what this person liked about it, what that person liked about it, whatever. It's like there's all these different points of view that maybe you wouldn't have seen for yourself, and I don't know. I just don't. I think it needs to be there needs to be at least more than one perspective whenever it comes to a review, because it's not really a review to me. It's like an analysis. It's like a breakdown. It's like, oh, this is what I noticed from it, and this is what I noticed. And sometimes the things you notice might not be good things. Like, oh, I noticed this part of the production to me was not great, but it's like more people come together and be like, oh, right, okay, and then you get a fuller picture. But obviously you can't write that way.
Well, I think like the point for me is we talked about it a couple of weeks back on the podcast is kind of like what I think both you guys are saying, and like I said before, it was more whenever we were talking about like have a cool music video and stuff, make sure that's sorted. If you're like put as much time and effort into like a music video or whatever. Long story short, like put yourself in a listener's position. It's like, where do you come to new music from? And as Andy has just said there, and like I know a couple of years ago, I maybe used to go on and like trawl through Enemy or something to look at what new music was on, and sometimes maybe I got interested enough to check out new music. It's been years since I've ever done that. I don't come to new music that way. So, I would kind of like say, like, put yourself in a listener's position and try and, think, where am I going to get new listeners from? It's probably not going to be reading a review, especially.
Yeah, I think the written reviews, that's ancient. That's just old form of.
Yeah.
For me personally, again, I don't see.
On the alternate side, though, we're talking about like writing about music. I still now, fair enough. This might not be an Andy thing, but like because I'm like heavily like always like searching up new bands, especially like on the music scene and stuff like that. The Stranger Days magazine that we were talking about a couple of weeks back, it's not reviews so much as it is all different artists and like poets and people doing short films and all sorts of really cool, interesting art projects. It's just giving them like a platform to write about what they're doing.
Oh yeah, right. Now, like talking about stuff. Yeah, that's fine. But going out to just like, let me grab this little thing that the artist has done and let me just break it down into a page out of however long they've been working on it for. And like, just reviews to me are almost purposely just trying to look into, like, when you watch Anthony Fantano's videos, he frustrates me sometimes when it's like, oh, okay, you've picked this bit out and you've spoken about it for the majority of the video, and then the good parts are like just thrown at you really quick. And it's like, whoa, talk about the good parts as much as you did
I find it really hard to like, and again, it's not really about the guy, it's not that, but it's like I even find it hard with like the needle drop because I know how popular it is, and like his videos are funny and stuff, and like they are really influential, which is hard because then if there's something he doesn't like, generally the consensus is nobody likes it, and it's quite difficult because a lot of people don't even listen; they just take his word for it.
Do you know who it's influential to, though? People that possibly don't create music themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
because
just
he's breaking
wanting
it
an
down.
opinion to follow.
Well,
Yeah.
people sort of know that the needle drop is where you go for like it's the very hipster review, right? It's like he really dives into stuff. He kind of has a niche taste in music as well. Like even though he likes a lot of different stuff, I would say the stuff that he rates like, you know, crazily high
8.
it's not stuff that I'm into, you know, and it's not I'm not saying because it's bad, but it's like, but that's not really where my taste is at, which is difficult because it's like that's the problem with music. It's the problem with a lot of art is like, you know, it just really depends.
But I think all art. Fucking hell, this is going to go back to. Well, this is my thing. I think reviews on your art can be, obviously depending on how it's written or like a video or whatever, but it can help in the sense of if you just take what they've said. Like I was listening to, the Dissect podcast, Stu. Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously you do.
Yep.
I was
I've
listening
been promoting
to,
it.
I started the Flower Boy one where Tyler the Creator, and they were talking about the Cherry Bomb album before he done this one and how that got like underground fans, but critics hated it and they said it was trash and he was even banned from some countries and all that stuff. But that criticism and them reviews made him create Flower Boy.
Yeah.
Which is genius.
Yeah.
So like it can help in that sense, but on a lower level, like, independent artists and stuff, I don't know. Reviews are like, I just think they're unnecessary. If you're just going to like you were saying, criticize or just write this little thing, just a shot of, and again, going back to the point, if you read a review, make the effort to go and discover it, like listen to it yourself, watch it yourself.
That's probably the
then
most
come back
important
to don't go by someone else's word.
Make up your own
for
mind.
your own taste.
Yeah, I agree, and that it is hard whenever it's like, like there's one local magazine that wrote a review at one time about a Muse record, Drones, I think it was, and it was like a 1-sentence review because they hated it, and I can't even remember what the sentence was, but it was just like, what's even the point in that? I feel like I have personal beef with that place anyway, but it's just like, what did that achieve? And I know Muse are a big band, so it's like, what's the difference? But I'm like, a fucking human being that just slaved over making a record, and you wrote 1 sentence about how terrible it was, and it's like, yeah, all right,
Now, in that
whatever,
sense,
what did that achieve?
In that sense, are they trying to achieve them writing the 1 sentence on a band as big as Muse? Is that them getting attention from the band's name? Going, oh, look at
they're
this
trying
review?
to
That's
be
what I was
funny.
gonna say. At a certain point, with certain things, there's a fine line, and it becomes more about the reviewer than the music that they're reviewing. You know what I mean? And I really feel like you have to watch out for falling into that trap. It's like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah, you're meant to be impartial. Like, don't have an ego about it. Just fucking grow up, and if you're gonna write something, then analyze it. Like that's how I feel you should do it. Like, I mean, I think that's like you said, we're not reviewers, so it's like I dread to think how many pieces of music they get sent, and I don't think they have a lot of time to sit with it. It's like, Mike, whenever you get sent a review, like how long do you sit and listen to that record inside out before you decide to say something about it? But to me, that should be the beauty in it. And I mean, I know I'm talking myself in circles here. That's the problem, is people don't have time to do that. And it's all about not having enough time. And that's why I constantly talk about that podcast Dissect on here, because it's like, Dissect, the whole purpose of it is to like literally go line by line in each song of an album, like spend an entire season of a podcast show like talking about this one record, and it makes you dive deeper than you ever would have. It's like this whole idea of like, you go and look at a painting in a museum. Do you run through the museum? No. Like you stand and you look at it and you try and let it give you all it has to give
Because
until you're done.
that is the truth of it. It's like, I mean, you can't sum up something in a couple of paragraphs. Like, if somebody puts out an album, even a single, like how many weeks, months, maybe sometimes years of their life have they put into like trying to make this? It does deserve like long form conversation and like an
Yeah.
intelligent conversation about the music. It doesn't really deserve to be like tried to be summed up in a paragraph or a line for that
Yeah.
matter.
It's difficult.
And that's for any artist, like massive artist or independent artist just starting out. It doesn't matter. Like if like somebody puts out a scrappy record as their first record, there's probably no less efforts went into it. You know what I mean? And there's no less love and time being spent on it. You know?
Yep. And I really try and say this as like out of the three of us, somebody who I feel has been on both sides of it. You know, I've had my records reviewed, and I've reviewed records. Like, you know, and I'm not particularly good at either. But yeah, I mean, it is hard, but I know that anything that I wanted to review or break down, like, I mean, even look at, I stopped doing them because I knew I wouldn't have enough time. But if you look at the breakdowns I did breakdowns for John Andrew of his song, John Andrews of his song, Lovesick Blues. I did a breakdown of his EP because the plan at the time was that I was gonna make these all the time, and then I went in and I done the Arctic Monkeys because people said it was so polarizing. Their most recent record, and I felt there was a lot in it that maybe people weren't sitting and listening to. They were just going straight off the bat of it didn't sound like Arctic Monkeys, so we hate it. And I was like, I think there's a lot in here, a lot of creativity. So then I made a whole breakdown about that. But those videos took me a long time, and it's like I was literally writing like a full length essay on like everything.
It's arguably more work than a review in
yes,
the end.
I was.
Then you're adding like
then
actual
I would
video and audio editing into it.
That's it. It took a very long time, but it's like at the time I was like so with John Andrews, I was so adamant that I wanted people to listen, and I thought there was a lot in it. I loved what he had done, and I was like, people need to know everything about this and why it's so interesting. And then the Arctic Monkeys thing was like, you know, I I wanted to win people on side and get them to like give it another listen. Like, you know, you've went in and initially thought there's too much piano on this for Arctic Monkeys. We hate it. And I was like, no, it's super creative. You need to listen to it. I think there's a lot of meaning behind it for where Alex Turner especially is at this point in his life. Please break it down and think about it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not really about them reviews, to be honest with you. Sorry, everyone, but that's probably why you won't see me sending stuff out anymore because I can't take it.
Well, it is.
Can't take the criticism.
There's room for reviews, but it's just personally, I just find doing the again going in circles. But last time me saying it, go discover it yourself. Go back to the review that you were gonna watch, read, or whatever, and see if you agree. That's it.
My own personal take is just personally like time is probably used better elsewhere. You know, if you're from the artist perspective, putting out music, I think personally, who knows? Like maybe sometimes it does pay off for people, but I honestly think maybe it's better like trying to like I don't know learn video editing software or something and try and get yourself a music video or learn another side skill because we've talked about this in a podcast before as well. Like you have to juggle a million different disciplines to try and release your own music. But yeah, we'll not keep going on because we've already covered this for quite a long time. But yeah, I think probably time is better used elsewhere instead of trying to chase down somebody who will say nice things about your music.
Yep, 100%. Let us know what you think in the comments. Please put them below. We love to hear that. The whole thing, it's not an argument, you know. This is an open conversation. I love to know what other people think. I want somebody to make a full length argument for why reviews are necessary because I know the three of us seem to actually land in a similar place on this. So yeah, please let us know what you think.
That meme, reviews are weird. Change my mind.
Yeah. They are. Yeah, I mean, that's mostly it for this episode. One thing, but we will talk about it more so probably in the next couple of episodes because we got Independent Venue Week coming up next week. And our ambassador for Northern Ireland is Jordan Adatunji.
Did you say he had like a full page spread or something in NME?
He's he's in the NME, everyone. If you go on the NME website right now and you go on to the Independent Venue Week article, you will see our ambassador Jordan Adatunji for Northern Ireland have a whole long interview. They've interviewed people from each section, like each ambassador, like Northern Irish ambassador, the Welsh ambassador, blah blah blah. Yeah, so he had a whole interview about how his first gig really helped shape him. His first gig was supporting Coolio in the Empire, which is amazing. Yeah, it's a really cool read, and I'm glad that he's on there. Like he's the second person in the last couple of weeks that we've been speaking about in this podcast we've seen on the NME, which is amazing because CMAT had a review on there.
And Enola Gay as well.
And Enola Gay, actually.
They done like an online music festival or something, like an online set, and then I think they got coverage on NME from that, as far as I know.
It's beautiful. I mean, I like to think we're hitting it first on this podcast. We're in there. We're fucking digging around for the music, the fresh new stuff that we know is going to be big.
Trying to get the scoops for the people.
We're getting the fresh scoops.
You're saying about Independent Venue Week. I'm pretty sure this is part of it. We were talking about new Pagans and stuff being signed there, the Big Scary Monsters. Mm-hmm. There's a getting to know session being filmed in OES Center for Independent Week. New Pagans, and I think it is not this Thursday, as in the 21st, which is tomorrow. I think it's next Thursday, the 20th of January. It goes live on YouTube. I think you can already go on the OES Center's page. It's being advertised there. You can subscribe and click the bell and stuff to be notified when it goes up. But that'd be pretty cool to get a little bit of insight on the new music that's coming out and stuff.
Definitely, man, definitely. And I suppose one last note to hit just about Independent Venue Week and just support in general is I know people are screaming for it from all kinds of businesses, and whether it's your local bakery or your the venue that hosts your local bands. I mean that everybody's just needs help right now. So if you're in a position to help, it obviously goes a long way. So even things like Damien Higgins, he has a charity single that is on our playlist at the minute. The Distant Sound Waves playlist I talked about earlier. He has a charity single called See You Again, kind of all about the pandemic, getting back to live gigs, and all revenue from that goes to help musicians NI, which I thought was a really nice thing that he was doing. And yeah, man. I mean, I just look at some of your local venues, like even Black Box put up a thing recently about how you can help them during this. Not everyone's in a position. I think we're all struggling. The average person is having a hard time during this. And, what do they say? Charity starts at home first. You got to look after yourself. But if you are in a position to help out at all, even a little bit, then we need to just keep this local music scene in Northern Ireland going as best we can. So have a look around at some of your favorite venues and bars and see, are they asking for help? Is there anything you can do? Even a small part would probably be amazing. So yeah, I think Independent Venue Week will be a big thing for all these guys with the last year they've had, But that's really all we've got for this week, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
I think he said it all, guys. Go home. We love you. You're very special. You're best.
Happy birthday, Mac Miller was yesterday.
Yeah. 29th birthday would have been.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Sorry.
What a grim way to end.
Sorry. So go home. Get out of here.
So go home.
Yeah, this has been Six Up Bro. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow Distant Sidewaves on Spotify. Follow the podcast on Spotify. Where we are, wherever you get your podcast, guys. So yeah, please support us. Support Independent Venue Week coming up next week, and we will see y'all next week. I said week so many times there.